Hi guys, just a quick look at what in my opinion is sort of essentials for HF radio. I'm going to use the ICOM ICR75 as an example. At the moment, this is the only HF radio apart from an SDR in my collection and a few handhelds and some other radios, but nothing specific for HF like this is. So this radio here does 30 kilohertz to 60 megahertz, AM, FM, sideband, upper and lower, RTTY, CW, and a few other things I'll run through now. So in my opinion, the essentials for an HF radio are we'll start with the obviously a power button. I'm not going to go through the radio. There's no point. Obviously, power button. Of course, you need a power button. So, in my opinion, the features you need for an HF radio. Okay, so RF gain. I think that's really important for an HF rig. RF gain's really nice on this rig as well. It's a really nice variable RF gain. I just turn the radio on, so it also shows you where the RF gain is. If you look at that, it shows you exactly where it is. There, all the way up to 60 dB. A lot of radios do that. The higher or mid to higher RF gain radios send the signal meter up and disable it, or disable it. So that's I think that's one of the most important features to have. I think it's called IF gain sometimes, but RF gain, I've known it as radio frequency gain. So that's one of the most important things for me, to have an RF gain on an HF rig. Next, I might as well stay on this wheel because it's got a dual wheel, this is squelch. Not essential for HF in my opinion, but essential in my opinion on FM and some AM stations. So that's again essential if you're listening to FM, in my opinion, and essential if you're listening to some AM stations that are like communications, not broadcast. But that's also quite essential to me to have on my radio, squelch. But that's pretty common on most radios, so it's not really RF gains left off some radios, which is a bit of a annoyance. Passband, always got some kind of passband tuning. This has got twin passband tunings because it's got two sets of filters. I'm not sure, like I said, if someone could advise me on the way the filtering system on these works. Because this has got two sets of filters, which is my next point. So let's just quickly go over passband. Passband tuning to me is essential. Either a single one or a dual one. This you can actually narrow the bandwidth to a certain extent with the two passband tunings. Very useful, very good again on this radio. They really nailed it. ICOM got it really good on this one. Great for getting rid of frequencies that are quite close, and good in certain circumstances to narrow the bandwidth a little bit. I think it can do that. As I said, next brings me on to the next point, the filters. I like adjustable filters. Wide, normal, narrow. So this radio has got two filters in line, and then two more optional filters. You can have two in or two in, and then you can mix them, I think, so you can have two filters in at the same time. I'm not sure what the advantage of that is. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm not sure that's 100% correct. I'd love someone to fill me in on the ICOM ICR75 filter arrangement. I'm not a radio expert, so that'd be great if anyone can help with that. But as I see it, it has two sets of filters in it, and the signal goes through both filters some way, shape or form in different stages of the IF, I think. Anyway, so in general, one of my things again for an HF rig is to have an adjustable filter. I believe that's very useful to have it on CW. This hasn't got a narrow filtering for CW. It says N, but it's only about 2.4 kilohertz, I think. So it's a little bit wide for CW, but it does okay. Another option, so filters, adjustable filters. To me, that's a sort of must-have. On AM, FM, sideband, you've got to have adjustable filters, in my opinion. Even if you've only got wide and narrow, I think that's a really good idea to have at least two filters per sort of mode, even if they're shared in some of the modes. For instance, if you go to AM here, if we go to an AM station, let's go to an AM station. So if you go to AM, narrow filter. It's a bit too narrow. But I narrowed that down to listen to a beacon or something, right down low on the low frequencies, and it actually worked quite well. It's a bit too narrow for broadcast.
Marvin Harrison. Good morning, Marvin. Good morning.
See, it really clips the end of the audio, the higher frequencies of the audio in narrow.
Because I really like putting. Putting makes me.
But like I said, definitely adjustable filters in all modes. Another thing, adjustable tuning steps. Obviously, you need adjustable tuning steps. Another thing that makes a good HF rig. This one goes down to 10 hertz, which I think it should be the absolute minimum you need to tune, especially on sideband. But this one actually goes down again if you do press and hold that when it's on this mode, and it goes to 1 hertz. Very rare to have 1 hertz tuning on a radio like this. And it's rare. No, it's not very rare. It's quite rare, and it's very useful again, in my opinion, to have 1 hertz tuning. And not that useful. I think 5 hertz would have been okay, but why not go to 1 hertz? That's good. Okay, next thing, adjustable antennas. Always good to have 2 antennas. Choice minimum of 2 antenna choice. I think that's a good thing for a radio HF. Next one, preamplifier. Don't really use the preamp that much, but again, I think that's not an essential, but a nice to have preamplifier. This is probably 10 and 20 dB or something like that. Then we've got attenuator, which I think is about 10 or 15 dB, something quite a bit actually. Look, so although again, attenuator to me, RF gain is more important. There's similar tasks, but I prefer RF gain for its variability. Some have a variable attenuator, which is nice, similar to an RF gain, not in my opinion. Noise reduction. Again, this isn't an essential, but I think this is a very nice option to have some kind of audio reduction or audio peak filter or something like that, or noise reduction or something like that, or something to take this.
Find 6 weeks worth of entertainment.
Trying to find no signal there. There we go. Something to take the harshness out of the audio. Next thing, automatic notch filter, always useful there, or a notch filter. Definitely a must, in my opinion, for an HF rig, or at least a very nice option. Noise blanker, another essential in my opinion. This one hasn't got a great noise blanker, not up to ICOM's usual standard of noise blanker, but still quite a good noise blanker. Well, actually, it's a little bit poor for ICOM, but it's still a noise blanker. It's still there, and it still works on pulse noise the best, as they usually do with ICOM. It's non-variable on this, but it's still worth having. And that, probably finally, I'm going to say now, without rambling on, that you must have, in my opinion, really must have an AJC adjustment, whether you go fast, medium, slow, or fast, medium, slow. Or fast and slow, or fast, slow, and off. That's what I like, fast, slow, and off. Just 2 options: fast for CW and FM, slow for sideband and AM usually, and then off if you're trying to tune in and use the RF gain to get those signals out of the mess. Okay, guys, with the noise reduction again. So all these are useful features. They're my sort of top, I mentioned there, of features to have on an HF rig. Sort of my essential list I like to have as a minimum. This radio is probably missing a couple of things I'd like, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Obviously, I'd like what would I like extra? What is it missing? A manual notch filter would have been better in my opinion. And I think that's about it. Otherwise, it's pretty spot on with the features. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.